guys, welcome back to the Rollout. I'm Linsay Rousseau.
And I'm Genevieve Marie. Hello and welcome.
Hey, we have such an exciting episode for you today, but of course, make sure follow us on the social medias, go over to cultureslate.com to see all the other amazing content we have, especially Star Wars stuff. Check out the Patreon. All right, let's dive in. Okay, so Genevieve, last week's show, was it last week's show? I don't know. Previous show was about the Bad Batch.
Our first reaction video was about the Bad Batch. We watched it, we gave our opinions on it, and then we had our regular show talking about the Bad Batch with some amazing bad bitches.
Bad bitches.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So if you haven't seen that episode, check out our YouTube playlist. You can see it there.
Yes. We had some great conversations about the Bad Batch, about Star Wars as a whole, and we actually touched on a point that we wanted to make an entire show about, and that is the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Where's the Old Republic? Where are you?
Yeah. I mean, we feel like Lucas and Disney are kind of just stuck within the Skywalker era. So, of course, we have two amazing guests today who know lots and lots about Star Wars. Welcome back to the show, Tyler McPhail and Marcelous Sammuel, which you may also recognize from the Grand Geek Gathering and their show. So, guys, introduce yourself and tell us where people can find you and the amazing stuff that you guys are doing.
Marcelous, please go first.
Well, I'm the man, the myth, the Lycan himself, Marcelous from Lycan Nerd TV. You can catch me on Blue Moon Lycan on Instagram, and I'm a part of everything at the Grand Geek Gathering. Right now, I'm the co-host of the Most Extreme Ranking Challenge and the Less Extreme Ranking Challenge. So I'm going to throw it over to my co-host, Tyler.
Absolutely. I'm Tyler from the Grand Geek Gathering, where we have 12 different podcasts that range from like everything. I won't name all of them, but some of my favorite ones, I mean, they're all my favorites. I shouldn't have said that. But Most Extreme Ranking Challenge, as Marcelous just said, where we just had Genevieve on our episode ranking Star Wars characters. And Linsay will be on in a future episode. She'll be our season 1 closer, which is really exciting. And also we have Pop Moses Film, where we have a screenwriter, a critic, and an animator watch the same movie, and we all talk about it from our different perspectives. Ooh, and so many more. And I don't want to take up too much time. So,
no,
hi.
That's great. So please make sure you go subscribe to their YouTube channel, check out all the amazing stuff that they're doing, because we love all of our geeky communities here. Okay, so all right, guys, let's just dive in. I feel like, again, I got into Star Wars with the original trilogy. I will love it for all, forever and ever and ever. But we've gotten a lot of stuff that takes place during that time period. And as Genevieve, as you guys will know, if you have seen our previous episode, Genevieve and I were less than thrilled with the Bad Batch. We had a variety of reasons. We won't go into them here. You can watch the other movie.
Mixed reviews.
Mixed reviews. But as someone who is a huge fan of the Knights of the Old Republic video game 1 and 2, and also the Old Republic Online, dudes, there were so many stories to be told there. There was so much diversity. There is just it's a plethora of this universe that's just untapped right now outside of the video games and the books.
Wait. Can we pause for a moment? I think we should explain some things. So with the regular trilogy of Star Wars, we're talking about the High Republic. We're talking about a lot of things that happen later in the galaxy. But when she references the Old Republic, we're talking thousands and thousands of years before these 3 movies even took place. And a lot of the things that they reference in these movies and throughout all of anything that they've shot at us during Star Wars, they reference the Old Republic and reference things that's happened then. The most important, craziest things happened then. So I agree with you 100% that they shoved this down our throats for no reason.
Well,
they're like, look at all these things that we teased that we're never going to show you. Look at these nice toys.
It's like you want to see the Jedi in their heyday. You want to see loads of Force sensitive people. It was before the quote unquote civil war with the Jedi and the Sith. Like they were fractions. They were fraction agents, but they weren't what they are now. They weren't the black and white, It was more, the Sith are the ones that wanted to get married and have families.
So that's the thing. Okay, wait, let's talk about that. Anybody that reads the books, they know that the Sith weren't properly described in a sense. I mean, the movies never give you the correct definition of the Sith. And if you really read the books and you learn about the Sith, you'll actually like the Sith. Their emotions real people with power, and this is what happens when real people have power. So I agree with you 100%. Like, we need to see the Old Republic so we can see more of the Sith, sadly enough.
I want to see more Jedi just being so gatekeeping and horrible. Like, I want to see, like I know,
they're not the nicest people.
No, they're not.
Really aren't. They're just, they're just like, oh, your haircut is so terrible. Kill him. Get him out of here.
Well, and let's not, avoid the fact that like they took children away from their families.
Yes.
At like not essentially birth, but like close. It's like, oh, force sensitive child. Bye. Yep. No more attachments for you. And it's like,
and they had so much power.
No, let's stay together.
And they had so much power that was feared in the galaxy. People was just letting them do this. A lot of people wasn't even okay with this. They went to go hide away from it because they knew what would happen if they had a force sensitive child. So you got to think about that power.
Yeah.
Just a story of that. Just a show about that. Right. About like, oh, sorry.
I was going to say, you don't have a choice as like a parent to be like, no, they literally come in and they take your child. It is like forced conscription. It is like, it is. And it's like they're building a child army. It is terrible.
They were,
yeah. Yeah.
I would love a show. Like, I think one thing like why Marvel is so successful is because it's like genre changing, genre adjusting and stuff, and expanding and broadening on like what kind of stories they're telling. I mean, look at the first 3 Thor movies; they're all completely different. And
true.
And also Captain America, anything Captain America, and like so. I think maybe Star Wars needs that. They did it with Rogue One, and a lot of people love Rogue One. I'm not gonna say my opinions. And
please don't. We did that already.
Do yourself.
I want to see the original version before they did the reshoots. Like,
oh man, yes. No, I actually told that. That's a whole other discussion, man. We talked about that a little bit in most stream accounts, but and so like, I would love to see a horror Star Wars story, either a movie or something like that. I would love it if it literally is like they're on the run and you don't know what they're on the run for, and then at the end the big twist is that they're actually running from Jedi, and this is like taking place in like way olden times, and like you don't even know, like they're like basically that's like dope. That would be cool. Like it's just like it even like you just see like this mother and the kid and a father just running, and then they just get captured, and then like a bag over the head, and it releases, and it's like the Jedi Council.
And the whole point of it, like, and the whole point is just that the mother is saying, my son is special, or my daughter is special, and that's why I have to protect her. She's just special. She's special, and they want to take. That'd be epic, dude. Yeah.
Well, and then so like Jedi and Sith aside, because of course we've all been screaming to see a movie where we see. I mean, Clone Wars. Okay, we had a lot of Jedi in Clone Wars, sort of, but we're in the middle of a war, and they're leading clones, which is a million of the same thing. Like in the Old Republic, we get the heyday of all the different races and, before things are destroyed. And I was like, and I would love to see like something involving the Black Sun. Like if you play through the video games, like the folks in the Black Sun, which if you don't know who that is, they're kind of like the roguish, smugglers and everything, but it's like, they're not really bad guys, but you have so many great characters already created in the video games. I mean, you could do stories alone just on the video games, and that's one of my pet peeves. Like, I want to see the Knights of the Old Republic story. I want to see Bastila Khan's story. I want to see Darth Revan. Like, but all that aside, like, give me a Black Sun spinoff, and it's like, let's just see these rogues like going through space and doing crazy stuff.
I mean, when we had Genevieve on our podcast, that was one of the things that I said was annoying. They kept the same 2 Siths no matter what. I want to see Old Republic because there was army of Siths. There was so many Siths. You don't want to see like an army of Jedi against 2 Sith. That's ridiculous. An army of Jedi versus an army of Sith would be amazing. Yeah. And then me and Genevieve, we were talking about this before. They have so many Darths that they could go into that would be a villain that would be dope. Malgus, Revan. You just Revan.
Rather than use Korriban, just show us Korriban, which is literally an entire planet of Sith. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Genevieve?
I was just gonna say, I mean, we're stuck with Sheev freaking Palpatine forever.
I love when she says his first name.
You had to bring him back in the last 3 films. It's like, thanks for undermining Darth Vader's redemption story by bringing him back.
I mean, like Oh man,
was probably the worst choice. I think they had
Yes, agreed.
infinite choices, and they picked the worst one, the last one. They
Yes.
picked the bad fan fiction version of the choices,
It
which
should have been the Knights of Ren. In all honesty,
Oh my god, that would have been amazing.
they
Which
like
I
they,
think
they,
that's one thing
they
I
turn on
love.
Kylo. They turn on Kylo, and it's just like, okay, we're the Empire now. Like we're taking over. You killed him. I don't trust you with Rey. You're not part of us anymore. Like you're not part of our club anymore.
you get like maybe less than 5 minutes of Knights of Ren, by the way. Like
I'm sorry,
the whole trilogy.
And I will never forgive them for the final moment with Rey and Kylo kissing. I feel like that is the unforgivable moment of the film.
Talking about the Force, man. Talking about the Force.
Can I
Please.
They forced that. Like
they did. I'm like, oh, you've killed thousands of people and you're a horrible person, but you did one nice thing and now she's gonna throw her character development out the window and kiss you.
I mean,
apparently you're the only man in her life.
Rise of Skywalker is easily one of my least favorite films I've ever seen. Like, I honestly do think it's worse than The Room. I liked
Force Awakens. Force Awakens gave me such hope. I was like, we have a female protagonist, minus the fact that she wasn't in any of the merch until we hashtag Where's Rey. But I was like, yes. Right. And then we had all these other amazing characters. And then by the third one, you're like, oh, Rose is gone. Okay, Poe and them. We're not going to follow their story anymore.
I know we did most of the stream.
Finn was in a coma. Finn is in a coma for a whole movie.
Okay, so I know, I'm so sorry for keep talking about our episode. Most
please.
But Rose is one of my favorite. For a couple things. First off, I love Star Wars, but I'm a Star Trek fan at heart. I love Star Trek. That's just my thing. I love exploration. I love diplomacy. I love hearing people just talk things out. But
I'm sorry, that's the whitest thing I've ever heard.
We're not gonna fight. So this is Star Wars bureaucracy. That's what we need.
Yes, thank you.
We'll just sit around the council.
There are certain things with Star Wars that I love. That a lot of Star Wars fans, I love Episode 1 because I actually care about all this trade and all this information that they're throwing at us. I'm like, yes, give me more diplomacy. I want to know about trade embargoes. And then Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars film, and Rose is one of my favorite characters because I love how different she was. I love how she was full of hope. I love how she was full of there were so many reasons that she could have quit and just left. She's like, okay, my sister's dead. Like, I don't believe in this cause. We're about to die. There's nothing. No, she kept fighting and fighting and fighting. It was like this breath of refreshing air. And I love the casino planet, unlike everybody else, because I was like, these are the real villains these are the real villains of the entire galaxy.
Tyler, that's one of the biggest things too. That casino planet, that casino scene was so different.
Yep.
All that was so wonderful. And then to have it at the end, it represented the most of Star Wars. To have that child that you didn't know this whole time grab that broom, that alone was just epic for me.
It really was. Yeah.
But no, I'm gonna stop you because I already know how you are. You're gonna wind up talking about this the whole time.
Oh no. I'm actually transitioning to what we were talking about. I was saying I want to see the casino planet go back all the way and being basically part of a sect of these really bad Jedi from thousands of years ago who basically were very gatekeeping and actually started saying, you know what if we stop fighting the Sith and we just went upon ourselves and we actually saw that the Jedi were actually in charge of this casino planet and basically all this stuff that kind of caused everything. Of course, the Jedi died out from it and it became something else. But I think that would have been really cool with how terrible the Jedi really were thousands of years ago to see them actually also be the ones who also caused all the issues from episode 1 on. So that's why I wanted to bring up the casino planet and all my stuff. I was like, I think that would be cool because I really love the idea of the casino planet and really showing the real villains of the galaxy. Empire and Rebels can hate each other all they want. These guys are going to be giving money and giving equipment to both of these sides and possibly other sides that will also start up later on.
I do love that they that they were brave enough to show the evils of capitalism, but also not brave enough to resolve it or
do anything about it. Yeah.
They're like, this is a problem, guys.
This is a problem, but I guess we're just gonna have to live with it because that's what Disney thrives off of.
I think that's what I think that's what the next trilogy would have been if Rian Johnson is. We don't know if he's on or not, but if he's still on it, I believe that the Casino Planet was brought on for a reason, and that's going to be the main focus of of the next trilogy.
Well, and that's the thing when they throw us like these casino scenes or like, you know, the cantina scene or whatever. It's like that's when we actually get to see what this universe really is. It's like we're so focused on these human Jedi, Sith, Luke, and blah 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 blah. But like we go to the casinos and we go to the cantina,
Jabba the Hutt,
like, dude, like, there are so many different creatures here, and like that's what I love about the video games. It's like we spend half the game with you know, go into the areas where the red sun is, you know, in control or black sun is in control, and it's like.
Could you imagine like the Jedi
people here, and there's like, you know, bargaining and, you know, underground deals going on, and like, oh, this is how things really work, and it's more nuanced. Right. It's not black and white.
Yeah. Could you imagine like way back when the Jedi like helped the Hutts gain power? Sorry.
No.
No, that was it. That was just like I love the idea of the Hutts.
I saw you had a point.
Yeah. Sorry. No, because like I love the Hutts. I think the Hutts are so weird. I'm just saying like the Jedi like kind of branched off and made a lot of the evil and like gangs and horribleness.
They didn't do it on purpose. It was kind of a byproduct, and I understand. I understand what you're saying, but even what Lindsay's saying, as far as the games, I want to see that more because majority of the games and even the books when I read them, I'm not around humans. I don't mess with human characters. It's all aliens. Yeah. And I love that. I think, like you said, that's what brings us into
it. And that was the big issue we had with the Bad Batch was like, Disney, where's your diversity? Like, we literally broke it down, and there was 3 women in the pilot, and one is 12.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen the Bad Batch yet. So and I've been hearing this. So this would make, and I'm a big Star Wars fan. That's like,
like I said, we're huge Star Wars fans, but we're just watching this movie and we're like, and you know, you look at the Old Republic, you look at Knights of the Republic, and like literally, Bastila Shan is probably arguably the most powerful Jedi of all time. Like Luke aside, Obi-Wan aside, like, dude, she has battle mastery powers. Like we've never seen that before. And to see the Bad Batch and be like, we called it 4 dudes. It was literally the Rick and Morty, like two brothers, and they're running around and they're doing stuff, and like 4 dudes and a child. It's 4 dudes, and then at the end they add a child who happens to be, you know, female, and you're like, oh, that's your one.
I think
like
you guys
the main cast is 4 dudes, 1 female child. The only female Jedi we gets axed
the first 5 minutes.
And we have 5 minutes.
We have the 1 Kamonian.
And we have the 1 Kamonian
who has a couple lines.
Who has a few lines. And then the grandma. We have a grandma who doesn't say anything when she's there.
We get this great moment with like these rebel forces, like, and you know, we get a Cal, you know, we get a Saul moment, you know, the Rogue One tie-in, and like, oh great, now we have women and other characters from other places, and none of them talk.
None of them say a word. I don't know if they were trying to keep the voiceover budget down or what they were trying to do, but.
Damn.
But it's like there's not very many, and what Lindsay and I have an issue with is like even if they get better as the show goes on, the main cast is still 4 dudes, 1 female child, and you can't change that. That will stay with the show forever. You cannot add on to the main cast of characters. You know, after
and to take
that.
a show, right? And that's the problem with having a show. And again, Clone Wars was great, but the problem with having a show centered around the clones is like, you've already set yourself up for failure. This show has to be about dudes.
Nothing but dudes.
It's all dudes. And I'm like, let's go to the Old Republic where like women had lots of power.
Yep.
And let's look at that, you know?
I mean, one of the things that you said too, like even going into Reverend, they're so hard on the Mandalorian right now. They saw something that they didn't know was going to be so popular and so crazy, which I don't even understand that. Boba Fett was like...
But Grogu could have existed in the Old Republic. I'm just saying.
No.
So easily.
But I mean, like, as far as like people being just in love with Mando and like the Mandalorians and the armor and whatnot, you figured they'd go into Reverend. They'll go into the Mandalorian Wars. They'll show his mask. They'll go through all this to show a whole nother side of it and give us something that we've been asking for. Boba Fett was in the movie for like half an hour in the original series, and we loved him so much. So imagine if you give us more shit, you know?
Yeah.
So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. And it's like we have, even if we stayed within the current timeline, we have so many other stories that could be told.
Yes.
Yeah.
that have nothing to do with the Skywalker saga. Nothing.
Yep,
like all these
exactly.
other planets we've only alluded to. Again, like I named my cat Jahani. Her name is Jahani.
I love that.
Based on a cat character from the Old Republic or from Knights of the Old Republic. So it's like my other cat's name is Eaton from what's her name, who was the Jedi, who is also, you know, buried as a Mandalorian, and she had a child that's a Jedi and a Mandalorian. It's crazy. But I was like, I want to see that story, or Eaton or Etain, I don't know how you pronounce it, but I was like, her story is amazing. She's the only Jedi to have essentially been christened a Mandalorian. Like,
yes.
Give me that story, or the story of her child, who was a Force-sensitive child raised on Mandalore. Like,
yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I would be okay if they did that in Mandalorian season 3, and like they just end, because like the end of season 2 is so definite. Like I know they can go, but should they? Like
no, it is. That's a good question.
Like it is like the Mandalorian could just be like what's that show I can't stand, American Horror Story, where it's just like a different story. Like a little trope an anthology series. And so and then it just focuses on a different Mandalorian, and it could be that one from the Old Republic. I that's the weird thing. I just don't understand why they're so afraid of like their history, unlike so many other sci-fi franchises.
That's why they're so stuck on the Skywalkers, and that's even when it comes down to Disney. When I'm listening to them, to both Linsay and Genevieve talk about the Bad Batch, it seems like they were just trying to, like she said, take some, try to keep milking it using the Rick and Morty.
Because the Clone Wars was so popular, they're trying to milk off that.
But then they use this formula from Rick and Morty. Like she said, she was able to see that and see under it, and it's like, come on, just give us. You don't have to do that.
Right, and it was essentially the A-team in space. Like, literally, we had our Rambo character, we had our tank, we had our Venkman smart dude character, and then we had our weird cyborg character.
If you tell me that at one point they said, "I love it when a plan comes together," I'm done. I'm done.
Okay. Wearing a bandana with long hair.
They might as well. They have a literal Rambo ripoff, and that was like actually one of my main questions. I'm like, does the Rambo ripoff ruin it for people? Like for people who know who Rambo is, like, did that ruin it? Because like for me, I'm just like, it was so blatant that it's like they felt that, like, you know, that was shorthand for cool guy in charge. And they didn't have to make any more, like they didn't have to give him lines that like made his character, you know, better, or they didn't have
an actual leader.
They didn't have to establish him as a leader or anything. They just, it was the look,
looking one
for like, this is the leader, and we don't have to say anything about him. No character development needed.
That's hilarious, man.
And it made the character extremely weak. As far from a writer's standpoint, that character was super weak. Going back to the reason why they're afraid, why Disney is so afraid of telling other stories and other timelines, I think it's two-pronged. I think they know where the money is coming from. I think they know from a marketing standpoint, the biggest audience they will get are the ones that are invested in the Skywalker timeline. And then I think the other issue is the last trilogy that we had. It was such a mess.
It turned off a lot of fans.
I was done with Star Wars. I refused to watch Mandalorian. I watched Mandalorian, all of it in September. I just refused to watch it until finally I was like, okay, we're gonna be at home for a while.
That's why I feel like it's a perfect opportunity to go the Old Republic route, because it's like, you know what, let's wipe the slate clean. And this is one thing I loved about Marvel. And it's like, okay, Disney is the parent company of both these franchises, but Marvel was not afraid to be like, we're gonna take the most obscure characters from the Marvel universe and make a movie about them. Maybe it's because we don't have the licensing right at the time to do the cool characters, but it's like Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody knew who they were, and it was amazing.
This was the thing with but Marvel, like when Marvel first came on with Disney like that, all the Marvel fans were afraid. We were all freaking out. I was so
scared.
The Marvel said it from the front. They're like, no, they're not going to have anything to do with us. We're still going to do it our way. We've already established all this stuff. But when Lucasfilm sold to Disney, it was not like that. It was like, you can tell from the amount of money. Yes, exactly.
I mean, we still have Kathleen Kennedy. She's the one holdover, but it's like to have Disney buy it and be like, oh, all the content from the past 30 years, now legends. And I'm like, yes, we have some amazing, I mean, and they brought some of it back. We have Thrawn and, you know, like maybe we'll be getting Mara Jade. They keep hinting at that.
It's cheap though. There's a cheap way of them saying like, look, we're going to pull what we want from that reference. And that's annoying.
You don't have a Kevin Feige of the Star Wars universe. And that is the problem.
They tried. Oh, did they try?
The difference between Marvel and Star Wars also comes with the fact that Marvel started off so strong when they joined Disney. They started off so strong. They didn't have a bomb. They didn't have a movie like I get you're saying,
like they had ones that weren't as great as others, but
they didn't have one that like was such a bone of contention between fans. And with that, you know, with that sequel to, you know, the first of the trilogy, I can't think of what is the name of it.
The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, which
The Force Awakens. After the sequel to The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, The Last Jedi, how everybody blew up. Like I think all the CEOs and all the presidents and all the heads of the studios were like, oh my God, what do we do?
Yeah.
This is not Marvel.
And then there was also drama with Colin Trevorrow too.
Yeah,
there was that drama.
Oh, okay.
That's why they're stepping so lightly into making in what they choose to make and what they choose to not make. So I think the risk taking has gotten very small.
Right.
I think that they want to take. I think they want to make things that are surefire and that.
But like that's what I question though, because it's like, okay, you kept to the formula, it blew up in your face. All right, the Clone Wars was a really popular animated series. Let's copy that. But it's like the video games have been hugely popular. I mean, I will still argue that the storyline in Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 is some of the best storytelling in any genre, especially in video games. I mean, like that Revan reveal blew people's minds. And I'm like, if what you didn't work and you have this product that worked and is, you know,
people still clamor for today, like
they're still playing it. Yes, exactly.
I don't understand.
So with video games, I'm just gonna fine. With video games, I mean, you don't have the studio execs like stomping on the throats of the creators, especially back then.
And you have more time, and
especially back then.
It's an old game.
Nowadays with AAA games, it's a whole different story. Look at Cyberpunk. But I'm sorry.
Video game adaptations are now the hot IP though, because people have realized video games are so powerful right now. Like that's comic book adaptations are still going to happen, but like video adaptations are what's hot right now. We're getting Uncharted. We've obviously had the it's like we're getting these adaptations, which are going to be amazing. Hopefully, I feel like Uncharted is going to be amazing. We've got Dune.
Don't ruin The Last of Us.
I know, exactly. But it's like, okay, cool. They've realized video games is where Gen Z is at. Like the latest polls show Gen Z is not watching TV. They're not watching movies. They're playing video games and watching social media. So like Disney, take your video games and make them into movies.
Also, they might be afraid of it because of the track record of video game movies. I mean, we only have 3 that are good: Angry Birds, in my opinion, Sonic, and Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
See, that's hard to say because almost any video game movie is going to do a little bit better than any just bullshit movie you just pull out your ass. Honestly.
Ooh, I don't know, man. Assassin's Creed,
Assassin's Creed.
That. I don't even think it made it money back.
Oh, that hurt my
heart
to see that.
I'm sure it did. Even the worst. Yeah.
But this is the thing. It still got millions of people out just because they played that game. And if you would have just had some movie that they made up out of nowhere, they wouldn't even have got that million. So I agree. Even the biggest failure in video games is better than just some movie they tried to create. Now, what I'm trying to say is that to go back to Marvel, Marvel has a very calculated way of doing things. I'm a nerd. I'm a super, super nerd. My son's named after Remy. Gambit, okay? So
yes, Rogue is my girl, so I love that.
So when it comes down to it, like I've watched him do it, and I've watched the process of how they do it. Marvel will start changing things in comics and see if it works. And then once it starts working, they'll put it into animated films.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll see if it works more. And then they'll take what they like from the comics and the animated film and then put it into the movie. They've already seen this. They've already figured out this testing grounds of each level.
Yeah, like Earth Mighty Heroes, there's a lot of influence in some of the
I can tell you from so all the Marvel MCU movies are based off of the alternate universe. And the alternate universe isn't even the regular universe of Marvel.
Yeah.
And what I call the alternate universe is just them trying out shit to see if it's going to work in the movies. That's all alternate universe. But that's why it's more realistic.
If only we made a Star Wars film that was based off something that we'd already done that worked.
No, I'm giving you this. Like, so that's where like a lot of Star Wars stuff that's dope comes from comics. And that's where Disney kind of sees that. Now, they're afraid of video games. Like Tyler said, there's not so many great video game movies that make it to that level.
Yeah.
But it's just like you said, Lindsay, the Fallen, what is it? The Knights of the Old Republic, the Knights of the Fallen Empire. Some of these stories are epic, and it's gotten people playing it for over 10 years. They've been playing it.
You revamped it and put it on the iPhone. You can play Knights of the Old Republic on your iPhone.
You know what?
I'm getting it.
There's
on Steam now.
There's a group of people that's already addicted to this, and it's stupid for them to not just try and make some type of version of it so that they can tap into that group of people that's addicted. So I'm just agreeing with you guys completely.
No, I agree. Well, and here's the thing that confuses me, because it's like, I mean, again, watching The Bad Batch, that was obviously made by Gen Xers. Like, it had the Gen X stamp on it. I'm a Gen Xer. But like the thing is like Gen Zers don't have that tie to the original trilogy like us old school fans do. Like, that was my childhood. They don't have that affiliation. Like, they grew up with the new trilogy being their show, or the Clone Wars being their show. So I feel like they're not as tied into the Skywalker saga as much as some of the older people are.
True.
So if that's your new target demographic and they're video gamers and they're open to other things, and just take a bunch of cute Grogus and put them in the Old Republic, and you've got merch. Come on.
I mean, they could also honestly
multiply the Grogus.
They can literally
they're thousands of years old anyways, right? So of course they live then.
Yes.
They can do a show or a movie literally about Yoda joining the Jedi.
Boom.
Wow.
There you go.
Like he's 100 years old. That's already like what, 500 years before the events of Episode 1. That's 500 years at least something. But like, okay, so I have one point real quick. So one thing about Star Wars, I know like, the thing about Star Wars is that not only is it like films and television, stuff like that, such a big deal, but the most important thing about Star Wars is honestly merchandising.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. Toys, comics, but like one thing that's really big with Star Wars are books. And I remember I'm looking at my Amazon order from 2010. They used to do these series of things like Jedi manuals, Jedi history books.
Yes,
and, they had one with Sith. I bought one where you press a button and it does like this epic, like it like opens up and it lifts up. And then they did a Sith one where it was a triangle, and you press the triangle and the book slips out. And like these things were like $150. And you bought them. They would, I have them both in Austin. I have them both in Texas. And but like they were a big deal and people bought them. Like the thing is, like,
and they didn't care about the price. That's what I get what you're saying.
Yes.
They didn't care. It was a book that
money.
And so that's the weird thing that I don't understand, is because the thing is that even though it's not like, like a $30 action figure or a toy or even a comic book, the thing is that you're putting out you're putting out merchandise for $150 plus for things that we've never seen or heard or anything whatsoever, and it's still profitable. So that will translate.
I wish I would have bought it. I'm right now like looking up like, where can I find this?
And can I say also another point as well? It's like, here's the thing about The Mandalorian. When I was pitched it and everybody was talking about it, they all just said it's a spaghetti Western Star Wars. And that's why I was like, you know what? That sounds amazing. I can't wait. And then Rise of Skywalker came out and I was like, okay, I need a really long break from Star Wars. And I just refused to watch it. But the thing was, like, the selling point for me was because it was something different from Star Wars.
It was a
spaghetti Western from Star Wars.
I'm going to take you to the Old Republic Online. Literally, like those early trailers, like you got a dude that looks like he was plucked out of Resident Evil, Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
Sitting in the Old Republic, you literally have a guy with a cowboy hat on. And he's an amazing character. If you play the Old Republic Online, like he's a great character. He's like this, grouchy kind of little, so it's like
Lindsay, but it's even to this. And that's even to this point. Wait, Tyler. It's even to this point. You're talking books, Tyler. Lindsay is talking video games. They had books that explain what happened in the video game.
Yes.
4-book series.
Yeah.
Fatal Life.
Yeah, KOTOR had a comic book series and hadn't even had an
but it was an actual book series that was like Fatal Alliance is pretty much a Casino Royale type thing where they're going to an auction. To see that would be epic, and I agree with you 100%. Spaghetti Western, dope. Yeah. You just need to branch out.
Oh yeah,
and that was my point.
Black Sun, you can get a heist movie out of that.
Yes, the Black Sun heist.
We could get an Ocean's 11 type story out of that. We can cover every genre of film, essentially.
Yes.
I just thought about something. How cool would it be? Okay, I'm gonna go back to my first pitch of what I like. How cool would it be? Is the Jedi steal a kid and a family wants their family back. They go to the Sith and they do a heist to get their kid back using Sith and also the family.
Black Sun. Oh, okay, yeah.
But like they go into the Jedi and they do a heist with the Sith and it causes a huge kerfuffle and the family just want their kid back.
I want it to be like you said originally, though, that we don't know that it's Jedi. We don't know it's Sith. It's a group. And then at the end, the reveal is like, wait a minute, the Jedi. And that all the fans, all these fans out here, it would be epic for them to be like, the Jedi was the bad guys? Like,
it worked for Mandalorian. We didn't know that like Luke was ever going to be anywhere near that property. We didn't know what the big twist the first episode being Grogu. Like we didn't know anything. We were just like, all right, cool. It's a Mandalorian. I like Mandalorians. They're pretty cool. Then you see Baby Yoda, and you're just like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like it's.
Yeah. I have my own issues with for the most part I like the Mandalorian, but I got
mine over there.
I have
I'm kidding.
I have some issues with it. However, it did so many things that the last 3 movies just couldn't deliver on for a lot of fans. I feel like the TV shows are where that Star Wars can now shine. And and
let's be honest, we all want to see Obi-Wan. It's going to be amazing.
That one I'm really looking forward to. Obi-Wan. There are a lot of things that are on the horizon that I'm like, yes, thank you. But also we're a little bit tired of it, we're tired of that story, those storylines. You can tell infinite amounts of stories within that timeline, yes, but is it necessary?
Exactly.
Is it necessary?
Still constrained by the Emperor, Republic, Separatists, like that's established, can't get around it.
The only storyline,
Stormtroopers.
Right. The only storyline that I would actually like to see within that era, but Disney is not going to do it, is Shadow of the Empire. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it just because it's so dark.
I love the Vong. I've always wanted to see I've always wanted to use Yuuzhan Vong so badly, like the Force Eaters and like with their snake swords and stuff. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see that. But I wanted to like, here's the other thing, like that's really weird that they're so okay with trying new things like WandaVision over at MCU. Like 5 years ago, they're like, we're gonna make a TV show that you're not really gonna know what it is, and be like, oh, like that. Everybody would be like, what happened to Marvel? But now, of course, we just accept it. We're just like, yes, please.
It was
anything
the most
weird.
watched show on Disney Plus.
Like honestly, if Marvel pitched to me, it's Rocket Raccoon reading TV Guide to you, I would be like, this would be the greatest show of all time. Like Marvel can get away with everything for me.
Pretty much,
and
right. Well, they've proven themselves. Whereas Star Wars, over in that camp, you don't know what the hell is going to go on.
We keep giving them a chance.
You don't know what garbage is going to be.
Exactly.
We do. And that's the thing that hurts most.
Shoved down your throat.
I mean, but the thing is, if they did Old Republic they can do it cheap and small. It doesn't have
Yes.
everything doesn't have to be big scale and Star Wars.
No.
It can literally be like, and I just thought of this. Like, imagine it's like young Yoda and another main character, and it kind of goes with everything that happened with Anakin Skywalker, where like the Jedi are just like, you're not powerful enough, and there's some darkness in you. We don't know if we want you. And Yoda's witnessing this, and he kind of sees it, and like the whole series can be about how that character becomes like a gray Jedi and just leaves, and it's like, okay, I'm out, and that reminds Yoda, and so later on it kind of like, oh, that's why he doesn't trust Anakin. I see it now. Like, that would be cool. And it's small scale. It's like all training, and they do some like certain things, and it's just a whole cheap series of character development. And that could be like they're testing the foot. Like, do people care? Do people actually care? And then they will obviously show they care, because I bought a $150 book. Look, and then they can do more and bigger, and then that's where they go into
Tyler,
it, you know?
This is the thing. They don't need to go more and bigger. The thing that started Star Wars off that made it so wonderful is that he was able to go into the desert, into the middle of nowhere. He didn't need no money. He needed some miniatures, and he can make it was the storytelling itself. Disney is too involved in making these big sets and all this stuff. They don't even make aliens no more. It's a whole bunch of humans on another planet. So
well, like, the budget of The Mandalorian was like astronomical.
Well, from what I heard, some of the best things from The Mandalorian was shot with, like, I think they said they had to get clone troopers that were cosplayers.
Yep.
And they actually did,
because they blew their budget on that crazy set that they were doing, trying to film, you know, like the Beyond green screen 3, whatever it was. Yeah.
And that's my point. They did that, and the stuff that we loved the most was Boba Fett and the 504 fighting in the middle of the desert. They spent, and that's why I agree with what Tyler's saying. Like, they could just go out in the middle of nowhere. You don't need a big set. You just need some good actors, maybe some special effects, and tell a dope ass story.
Yeah, I'll take a Yoda puppet. I don't give a crap.
That's his point.
Like, because they realized nobody liked CGI Yoda.
Nobody.
Puppet Yoda, so they gave us puppet Grogu, because that's what the fans wanted.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of joking about the episode 1 puppet Yoda that looks so terrible that they did do the CGI. I would take that one back. I don't care. Like, just make Old Republic, give us something new. And like, again, I'm so sorry to say this, and you can stop me. Something that Star Trek is not afraid of. They do the weirdest shit where they're just like, listen, we don't even know our canon, okay? We're just gonna make it up.
We're just gonna say alternate timeline and fix it.
Yes.
You figure it out. We'll hang out over here and keep making things while the fans just figure it out for us. You did the work for us.
Really. The fans will connect that somehow.
Right. Or just give us a story.
There was like
a story that's not tied into any timeline, and you don't have to worry about canon. It's like, hey, we're gonna go cover whatever operations 4,000 years before, you know, the first trilogy, and some random planet that has nothing to do with anything that's never been talked about. Great.
We need James Cromwell drunk off his ass. And we'll make a movie around. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
That's the thing is,
we want aliens, and we're done. We're great.
Those big budget, like fitting in the big budgets and being like, oh, we need like a gigantic explosion in the third act, and that's going to cost us X amount of money. All of that really doesn't matter if you don't have a good script. If you don't have a good script and a good story, and I don't know why that's so hard for studio execs and the people making these things to learn. I don't understand how that is difficult to understand, that if the story isn't there, and these people are just like writing in pages like the moment before they have actors going on set. That's what happened in episodes 1, 2, and 3. It's just like, oh, I'm just gonna write some stuff and then throw it at you. Like, we'll piece it together as we go. And it's like, that is not how you make a good story. Like, maybe that's how you make a movie. It's like, George, you want to rewrite this just in case? Like, I think you have some misspelled words in there. Oh, we'll figure it out later. Like, no,
we'll fix it in post.
It's all about the editing, and that's the thing is
more blue screen.
People are going to be so enamored with the CGI, they're going to forget about it, and like,
and that's not. It's window dressing. People are not that stupid. That's the thing, is they underestimate their audience. I would say probably 99.9% of the time. They think we are dumb.
Right.
And it has been proven time and time again, people, the fans, people who watch this stuff, regular people, they're not as dumb as they think we are.
I've seen The Lighthouse, Lord Lucasfilm. I've seen The Lighthouse.
Well, and again, I'm going to keep coming back to video games because it's like, dude, video games are proof that we want story and characters, because I'm going to sit there and invest hundreds of hours in this massive game. It's because I'm invested in the story. You're like, yes, okay, it's fun to like kill things and figure stuff out, but it's like, dude, I want to know what the story is. I want to know what these characters are. I want to explore this world. And 300 hours later, I'm still going because there's more stories. There's always side quests and additional characters. And it's like, I want to talk to every NPC and know what their story is.
Stop calling me out.
I think that's the thing with Genevieve. Like Genevieve was saying right now, and she pointed out something. The executives, the people that have the most power, that's putting the money into this, the producers, and take it from somebody that's had to work on films before, I wrote a short film that made it pretty big, and sitting there with the person that paid for the set and paid to produce the film was so aggravating because they kept saying things and adding things and wanting, well, I don't like this. And I'm like, but that has nothing to do with what's going on here. Please leave me alone. But they have all the power and I have all the money. I promise the person that's the head executive producing and giving all the money for Star Wars has never seen the Star Wars. The only reason he's giving his opinion is something that he saw his son do. You know what I mean? A couple of weeks ago, it was like, oh, I think he liked a purple lightsaber. Let's get a purple lightsaber. And it had nothing to do with anything real in canon. And I think that's the problem, like Genevieve was saying, like they know nothing. And
then they expanded on it, which I love.
Giving interviews saying that was not how Wonder Woman was supposed to end.
Yes.
Later reshoot it. Same thing with Rogue One. Oh, we don't like the ending. Let's reshoot it. And, nowadays you're hearing stories about how films are being made and casts are being picked based on algorithms, based on analytics. Like they really have turned it into science, not creativity. They're like, okay, we need to figure out the algorithm of who is going to be the best person for this film to sell it. This is their social media following. This is their presence on this. This is the movies they previously starred in that did the best. And so it's not going to have anything to do with who's the most talented person for it. It's, okay, this is what our algorithm tells us will make a movie.
Jump into Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
And if we're talking about algorithms and looking at social media and looking at influencers and then just dropping in influencers, I think it's the sequel to Amazing Spider-Man, in which there was a very popular influencer that they just dropped her in there, and they're like, this is going to do great regardless of acting skill, regardless of anything at all. And she's not the reason why the movie failed. The movie was terrible, but it's just one of those examples, and it was probably one of the first examples of influencers and then people who are popular on social media who have no business.
They're not actors.
They're not actors. They're not professional.
I don't think the fans care. And it has blown up. Look at the Mortal Kombat. When they released the Sonya Blade skin where they had Ronda Rousey voice it, the internet blew up and was like, oh my God, you destroyed Sonya Blade. This is horrible. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you had someone who's not an actor voicing a character in an iconic video game. It's like, it didn't work.
Yeah, or they create characters all the time. She could have just voiced a new character. That would have been cool.
Exactly. They didn't have to
I would have been okay with that.
Yeah.
Oh man, so many things. I think I forgot my thought though.
I did too. Lindsay was saying something and I had something I was going to say and I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry.
What?
No. It was something on what you were saying.
Yeah.
Video games.
I remember now.
Go ahead, Tyler. I'll try to remember.
No. Okay, so that's the weird thing is that's the beauty with video games as opposed to film, where film everything is finite. Like if there's a movie, unless you're George Lucas, then you just add things in and do whatever you want, or Zack Snyder, I guess too. But that's very rare occasions. Thank you. But with video games, you can still change the ending, like with Mass Effect 3. Completely change the ending. And I think that's the beauty with video games. And here, we don't, all the Old Republic stuff is from 2000 and nothing's new anymore, and that's why like I would even be okay with more Old Republic stuff in video games, like make a new Knights of the Old Republic 3 or something like that. And like
2003, and we've had I mean,
that's
still going, but I mean,
exactly.
They reissued Knights of the Old Republic, but it's like Knights of the Old Republic 3.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing what they did with Star Wars and the Clone Wars, Battlefront. Like I was a big Battlefront prop, and then they kept telling us, "Oh, we're gonna give you a new one. We're gonna give you a new one." And then they gave us like a quarter of a game. Yeah, and it's like, why would you do this? And microtransactions. And then what you're saying about the Old Republic, this game has been on for like 10 years, over 10 years,
almost 20 years.
And people still love it, still putting money into it. You still have to keep updating. You keep having to put it on servers. So give us a new game like this. Like, what was so hard about it? And I'm sorry, I remember what my other point was.
Yeah.
Linsay, you were saying like how studios are messing up, movies. I think the biggest thing that we saw was with Justice League. You brought up like Wonder Woman. Justice League, the studio themselves, because of one director change and something very sad that happened to him, they used Joss Whedon to change this movie around so much for what they thought was going to be something great, to the point where fans hated it. And now that we got the original director back, it's something wonderful. We see what the direction was. And it's all because of the internet, social media, and them being able to express how they felt about this. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's one of those things that sucks. Like, social media has given us a voice to express things and mess things up, but it also gave us a voice for us to fix certain things. And we're seeing more and more of that fix with the Sonic movie, like Tyler was saying.
We hate Sonic.
Go ahead.
No, finish your thought. I was like, Sonic's a perfect example.
It's a perfect example of them listening to the fans, listening to the people, and us loving it.
Right.
I loved the Sonic movie once they fixed it.
Yeah,
I can't, and it's one of those things where I don't understand how that worked, and then they didn't keep doing it. Zack Snyder worked. Why don't you keep doing this? Why are you not listening to us? That's the point I wanted to make. Like,
no, that's a great point.
I think so. Like, okay, I have some because I love film, and here's
do a part 2 then, and a part 3.
So I'm hit or miss with studio involvement. Because again, like I've said this before, I know somebody who did get to see the original cut of Rogue One, and they said that it was literally the trashiest thing they've ever seen. And then when they saw the reshoots, that it was more cohesive, and we had there was Darth Vader. Because the original cut, there was no Darth Vader. It was.
Aren't you the guy that walked out of a Michael Bay movie and cussed him out in front of him?
I didn't mean to, and that's a whole different story. I felt.
I'm sorry, I had to drop that. Right there.
Oh yeah, that was and I've only walked out of 3 movies in my entire life.
Which Michael Bay film was it?
There's a whole story and saga of it, and I'll tell you after this. It's a really long story though. Wait. So
no, just say the movie.
Oh, Transformers 4. We thought it was. I thought it was Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'll explain that to you after this. It's been on a couple of our podcasts where I've told this story before.
It's my favorite story.
Oh,
okay, go ahead.
But with Rogue One being fixed, from what I was told, everything that's like, but also like with Last Jedi, with like the studio also kind of being like, you know, they had him change some things because of J.J. Abrams was like, listen, you can't do this to J.J. And he'll be like, okay, fine. But like, I still love the film. But there are other certain movies that like do better with studio involvement sometimes, and sometimes they just completely fail. Like if you look at Brothers Grimm and a couple other movies, but some of them sometimes they do fix it. So I can't always be like 100% hating on studio involvement. But of course they do things like Suicide Squad, where it's like you hire David Ayer to make a David Ayer movie, and then you didn't let him make a David Ayer movie, and you're like, my God. Like, dude, I wanted a Training Day Suicide Squad. Why didn't you give me this?
Right.
And so
Training Day Suicide Squad. That is like a statement. I need that on a shirt.
We want the Training Day Suicide Squad. Give us the Ayer cut now.
But with Star Wars, I think it's like a hit or miss thing with studio involvement, because again, with 1, 2, and 3, there was no studio involvement. They were like, George, just do whatever you want, and we saw how that happened. There was no studio involvement in Force Awakens, which was totally fine. There was a little bit in Last Jedi, but then there was heavy in Rise of Skywalker. So it's kind of like, crap. What do we do? Like, would studio involvement fix would it have fixed episode 1, 2, and 3, or would it have made it worse? What would have happened? Like, what would happen if Duel of the Fates was actually made? what would have happened with Han Solo if the studio let let two of the greatest directors working right now, if they let them make their funny solo movie that I wanted so badly. Oh my God.
So great.
A comedy.
Ron Howard doesn't make bad movies.
Ron Howard did the best he could, and I am proud of him, but man, that movie. I'm so proud of you. I don't like it, but I'm proud of you.
I didn't hate Solo. I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I like Solo.
It was just, I was like, all right, that was a movie that wasn't bad.
The most acceptable,
that was like
boring film.
She said it was the most acceptable, boring film.
I do love that actress, though. She's amazing, and I loved her in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And so, like, I think, like, with that, like, things like that, I think there needs to be, like, a common middle ground with Star Wars, where I think there was a lot of heavy studio involvement, especially with Paramount, with Marvel before. Paramount's like, listen, please don't waste our money. Like, and Spider-Man 3 just came out. Please, Marvel, know what you're doing. Like,
I mean, it sounds like basically what we need is what Marvel has. We need a Kevin Feige. We need someone who is a diehard fan.
Yes.
Who is
Dave Filoni.
Savvy creative. Oh, Dave Filoni, yes. A savvy creative, a savvy and executive, but also a diehard fans. And yeah, exactly. Our favorite Star Wars stuff is Dave Filoni. And it's like, and then we have Kevin Feige over at Marvel. So it's like, okay, do we need Dave Filoni to just take over Star Wars? But then again, Dave Filoni is behind the Bad Batch. So it's like,
I was just going to say, I'm like, well, we did just
the Bad Batch.
And Dave Filoni's name is plastered all over that.
What we need to do is we need to clone George Lucas, and we need to make sure that he does not do the mistakes of episodes 1 through 3. And just kidding. Like, listen, clone George Lucas. No blue screen. Got it?
I don't know.
Just joking. That was horrible. I'm so sorry.
What made the original trilogy is great. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, you need a healthy balance. The studios are there for a reason. The studio execs are there for a reason. It's not like they don't know what they're doing when it pertains to their particular job.
Yes.
When they try and become a director or a producer or
an actor.
Or an actor or a script, or a writer, then that's when things get messy.
Yeah.
But then also you have the people, the writers, the directors, you have the creatives who, like George Lucas, will just take something and run with it and have nobody to rein them in.
Yes.
And you also get a mess. So
that's why the original Star Wars was
stay in their lane.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the original trilogy was so great, is George Lucas didn't do that on his own. It was his world, but like he had his mentors from USC advising him on the script. He had his wife, who, lesser known story, his wife is essentially responsible for the original trilogy because she is the one who edited it and cut it together and made this expansive world a cohesive story. And like, for all the amazing world building that George does, he had help and input to create it into the films that we saw. And that's what was missing from 1, 2, and 3, is like, he has that creative world building mind that so many creatives do, but he didn't have the people around him, I think, to rein him in like he had back in the 70s and 80s.
Well, but I think that's mainly because of success. Like, honestly,
no one's going to question.
You're always going to say no, George Lucas.
Originally he had to.
I mean, they kind of did to him with the new trilogy, where he's like, here's my ideas. And like, that's nice, George. Okay, where's the incinerator?
Once George sold Lucasfilms, they could say no, George.
Yeah.
Well, once George was the head of Lucasfilms, nobody's going to say no, George.
No, George.
Right.
Yeah.
And some nuggets of good stuff in episodes 1, 2, and 3. It's just
why
I like 1 and 3. I don't. I'm not,
3. 3. I still. I mean, to see Obi-Wan's, rise and fall. I mean, it was
That's what I'm saying. People don't want to understand. There's certain things that we got to see in each one of those movies that'll make it worth it. That's why when we look back now at the episodes after getting this bullshit that they gave us, and we're just like, oh, it was so wonderful. Oh my God, thank you. Like,
don't put on the rose tinted glasses.
Wow.
Fully. Like, put them at least like half shaded. Don't absolutely lose.
Can I say something like so geeky
and
like
your reality?
Maybe and maybe very Trekky as well for Star Wars.
Let's say Star Trek one more time.
Okay. Stargate. No, I
like Stargate.
I love Stargate.
Both.
Yeah.
Stargate was dope.
We are not Trek bashers. I actually
not at all.
really love.
You want to talk about someone that's done diversity well? Star Trek has freaking nailed it.
They had the
For
first
years,
everything.
since the
Yeah, they had
beginning.
the first
Since the
everything.
beginning.
Years. Like, but Discovery, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Yeah.
And Lower
Nichelle
Decks is so
Nichols
good.
is a personal fucking hero of mine.
Yep.
When you see how much that she has done outside of Star Trek, well,
Yes.
because she was
Yes.
in Star Trek, because she had that role, because she had that platform, she did so freaking much, especially with NASA.
Yeah.
Just
And George Takei as well, with George Takei with LGBTQ
Oh my
like
gosh,
awareness and
everything.
pride.
And also like his comic book about the
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
I was at Comic-Con the year
unbelievable.
the comic book was released. I went to his panel at Comic-Con as
Oh
he
my
talked
God, it's
about this.
dope.
I was in tears. I was
Yeah.
just like, this man has done so much, and it's because he got the platform from the fandom, from Star Trek, and is just I have so much respect for that man.
Sorry, you're warming my Star Trek heart.
If there's anything out there about like Japanese internment, I promise you, George Takei will find a way to be a part of it or to be acting in it. And I love him. He is fantastic.
Okay, Tyler, you had a point.
Yes, Tyler.
So
up here.
yeah, of course. I'm so sorry. No, I would love bringing it back to like the Old Republic and stuff like that. I know I've talked with Marcelous about this before. We talked about like I want to see Jedi crazy, like really religious, or like basically like religious like people, like zealots, basically.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this, and I really hate the fact that they keep ignoring it and not letting it exist. I want to see zealots of Jedi where they just finally are arguing, like maybe even councils or everything, where it's like little factions where it's like, no, midichlorians are why we're here. No, it's because of this. And like actually seeing like why these things happening. And I would honestly love to see, but you, Marcel, you and I talked about, I want to see like Liam Neeson's character, like honestly,
yes.
I kind of want to hate him, like I want to see him
I
as
already
like
do
like
hate him.
well, I know, but what I'm saying is
like a real hateful
give us
reason,
reason where it's like the midichlorian ones are just so just so horrible, and they're so close-minded, and they're just so like with everything, and like kind of see where it's like he's like this like one of the few long lost of these Jedi that were outed because they didn't believe in like what the other ones do. And and that was something that I was missing, I thought, in Last Jedi when the books were being burned and they were talking about, I wanted Yoda to actually like talk to Luke or Yoda talk about basically like where Yoda's like, listen, things need to change. Like the Jedi, some of us thought they came from midichlorians. Like we were crazy. We didn't know what we wanted.
Yeah.
Like I really wanted it. I think that would have been like wholeheartedly important for them to at least admit and talk about midichlorian. I think midichlorian should be. I think midichlorian should be a huge deal. I think that could have been a war. I think I really don't understand why they just write off midichlorians, and they're just like what they did with Jar Jar, where they made Jar Jar die on the street because he was a street performer. Like stupid things like that in Star Wars, like what also makes me hate Star Wars, where you're just like, listen, I understand that this character is hated by a lot of people, but it's also loved by a lot of people. And for you to like do that kind of like stupid, that stupidness, where he's like, he dies on the street as a performer. He was still, even though a lot of the faults were his, he was still a senator. He shouldn't be on the street being a performer and dying by himself.
I've never seen any politician ever have that like real world consequence. Like, no, that is not real life.
And so like that
would never happen to a politician, no matter what bad crap they did.
You're from.
And that's why I would love to see a series where it doesn't do all of these like fan service crap, and it just explains and makes us see characters that we do love in the new trilogy and see a different side of them. Because again, people love villains, and coming from Disney, who do Maleficent, who is doing Cruella, like it's showing that people like villains. Why not make some of your like I'm Liam Neeson's character, everybody loves me, I'm dead, like all right, everybody missed me. Like we should see a different side of him. We're like, oh, he was like a zealot, like he actually could have hurt Anakin maybe even more if he raised him. Like show that they were like they hated kids, and like maybe he would like hurt kids, like when his training was like real harsh and stuff like that. Like that would have been cool. So that's just me. That was my geeky thing, where it's like that's something that you do see in Star Trek, where you're just like, oh yeah, these little group of people over here, they're really, really bad. Let me explain 5-episode arc. And like
it would be nice for Star Wars to become a bit more multifaceted with their characters, because they are very, very archetypal with
black
their
and white. Yeah.
Very black and white. And it's always been that way since the beginning.
Yeah, dark side, light side.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why it worked back in the 70s. But now we've gone a long way in filmmaking and in storytelling through filmmaking. And I feel like Star Wars now has a chance to kind of evolve from that archetypal character and do like Tyler said, and then take some of these characters, and then maybe look at them in a different light, so that you can have a more well-rounded picture of who these people actually were. That's a great idea.
Right. And obviously, just to wrap up here, but you can also address current events. Like, we saw with Winter Soldier. It's Winter Soldier. It's like, dude, we're taking on racism. We're taking on extremism. It's like, oh, the revolutionaries or the terrorists aren't actually really the bad guys. Like, we could see that in the Star Wars universe, which we did see with the original trilogy. It's like, okay, this is obviously like taking on Nazi fascism, but it's like, we've got all these different alien races. We have an opportunity to tell stories that are also pertinent to our reality in the world that we are living in now.
Right. Yeah. Also, those stories are an easier pill to swallow when it is not humans or humanoids that are the ones that are telling it.
Because that disconnect is there. I honestly think if they really give a better description and they get more into the Sith and why they are Sith and how much power they had and why they were corrupted and the emotions and just the realistic, if they do that, then I think we'll have a better Star Wars series. And honestly, I just want to see more Sith. It sounds crazy, but I'm tired of seeing an army of Jedi and 2 Sith. We only get 2.
Give us the Sith.
I want an army of Sith.
Take us to Korriban. Let us see the Sith.
Yes, there you go. Thank you.
Talking about like, oh, we're not bad. It's like, dude, I wanted to get married.
I fell in love. That's it. That's like,
I want a Lord of the Rings style Sith battle. No more of these droids. None of that. Like,
no droids, no clones. Straight up on.
Yes, no clones. For the love of God.
Like,
I'm so done with
the droids on the one side and then the humans / humanoids on the other. And it's like, you don't care about one side being decimated because they're just like droid army. But like, if you have both of them be like sentient creatures, then that's where drama can come in. That's where feelings and emotions can start playing off of each other, and audience engagement becomes far more prevalent.
And we all love a good anti-hero. Like, as prevalent as Palpatine was, there was nothing to like about him. Like,
they made him the worst character so fast. They made him a
horrible human being. Like, just a horrible human being. But like, if you're looking at Darth Malak and Darth Revan and some of these other Sith from back in the Old Republic era, it's like,
you understand them.
I kind of get where they're coming from. Yeah, you have a valid point.
Yeah,
like I said, Fallen Empire is crazy. The twins is out of this world.
Oh, the twins! Oh my gosh, yes. And then also the.
Yeah, it was not. We don't want to.
I have one.
Wait. Yeah. I gotta say this real quick.
We'll wrap this up.
Oh, sorry.
I just gotta point this out. I love how Genevieve always calls Palpatine by his first name.
Well, ever since I learned his first name, he deserves to be called by his first name, because that is some ridiculous crap.
It is.
Steve, who decided? Like, oh God, she.
So I have an idea. This is what Disney, if you're listening to this, which I hope somebody is, what you can do is make KOTOR 3.
Yes.
And then see the big sales, and then what you do is you do a DLC, and like you do like a little story, and then at the end of the DLC, it just says. And then you just see in the screen, it was like, the story will continue, ... Disney Plus.
Yes.
Like, that's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do.
I'm there. I'm buying a copy.
We're done. On that, we've solved the problem. Disney, Lucas, if you're listening, we're available to consult.
Yes, we are.
But seriously, just, I know we've been saying a lot of things, but obviously this comes from a place of love. We are diehard Star Wars fans. We just want to see this world represented to its fullest.
Yes.
Because we are so passionate about this universe and we just want to see more of it. And so please know it's coming from a place of love. That being said, let us know in the comments your thoughts, your critiques. What do you want to see? What do you not want to see? Yeah.
If they do an Old Republic thing, should it start off as like in a galaxy far, 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 far away? Like have like a bunch of
long now.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The entire scroll is just far, 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 or long.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. I would laugh so hard.
Wait.
All right, guys.
All right.
Wait. Again, tell everyone where they can find you and check you out. Thank you for being here,
Marcelous.
Once again, I'm the lupine with glasses. I'm the wolf with a 401k, the lichen nerd, Marcelous Sammuel. I'm always here with the Grand Geek Gathering. I want to thank Linsay and Genevieve for having me on. This was amazing. I don't get to geek out and talk to anybody about this, so thank you so much.
We will have you back then. Okay, challenge accepted.
Oh man, I'm Tyler from the Grand Geek Gathering, where you can go to thegrandgeeks.com, thegrandgeekgathering.com. I have a bunch of URLs, like I'll go to it. Thegrandgeekgathering.com, found on all the social medias. I stream on Twitch every so often. I've been doing Mass Effect and going through all of that because that's one of my favorites. And
into voiceover was that video game.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my god, we'll talk. And but yeah, we have 12 different shows, different podcasts. Our YouTube channel, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're just starting out, and it would really help us out. And I animate and do all the editing for it. So
it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, that's it. I can't wait to have Linsay on Most Extreme Ranking Challenge. Go back and watch our Star Wars episode.
Wait.
Our Star Wars episode is so much fun.
It's that I almost peed my pants on that episode laughing. You have to go check out that episode. Check out the Star Wars Extreme Ranking Challenge. It's so good. So you can find us here on YouTube every Friday at 12 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you like what you see here, please please subscribe, ring that bell so you get notifications every time we upload. Tyler, Marcelous, you guys make me laugh so hard every time you're on. I love having you guys on. We will have you back on soon.
Wow.
Please. I love you guys.
Another crossover like we did with Unnecessary Debates, because that is also just prime YouTube fodder. It is so great.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, please also check out our reaction videos. We just started doing reaction videos, which we drop every Wednesday. So we've got a couple exciting ones for you all. And you can also find us on your favorite podcast server. If you missed, if you don't want to watch us live, you can listen to us on your commute to wherever it is you're commuting to. Yeah, I guess we'll see you next week.
Yes. Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Later.